Thank you very much. Well, as you said, in 2 days, the U.S. troops began leaving Afghanistan, ending the long U.S. war in the country. With this, Afghanistan once again makes the first page news. Such media attention this time does not bode well for many Afghans who believe the withdrawal of foreign troops with little prospects for a political settlement heralds difficult times ahead. The Biden administration decision to end America's long war in Afghanistan is viewed in different ways in current debates in the US and elsewhere. But it is the decision now made, and it is being implemented. Its implication is subject to different interpretations that we will know later. Today, I will offer an update on the situation in Afghanistan, the status of the delayed peace talks and prospects for its resumption, and finally, some thoughts on what may lie ahead. Let's look at the situation and the update on the situation. In Afghanistan, the US and NATO authorities are busy with the complex work of packing up and handing over evacuated installations and some equipment to the Afghan defense and security forces. The equipment, it's a very complex situation, difficult, I think. They are in four categories. Some will be destroyed, some will be handed over to the Afghan side, some will be evacuated to US, and some to some other parts in the region. So it takes time. This also includes the transfer of CIA supported units that works under National Director of Security. There are 5 or 6 units, 01, 02, 03, 04. They are the units that track the terrorists in Afghanistan. And very complex, it's in a sophisticated unit with sophisticated equipment. And there's concern that whether they will be well utilized after the CIA leaves Afghanistan. And then the other one is the Host Protection Force, which has been there for all these 20 years and made a major contribution to tracking the terrorists in Afghanistan. At the same time, the U.S. Embassy is reducing its staff and unnecessary or insensitive, not sensitive members are leaving, those who can work from elsewhere. And that actually sends a very psychological, air to the population that U.S. is leaving, and even the embassy is leaving. And there's some misinformation also affecting the population's, mood. At the same time, the warning of the Taliban that in preparation to the warning that's saying that delayed U.S. troops withdrawal may cause the Taliban to resume attacks on U.S. targets in the country. Defensive arrangements are made by deploying additional assets, some brought from Kuwait, and to cover the U.S. NATO withdrawal. This, well, after something very necessary military affairs, but the impact, psychological impact, is very negative. The mood among the population is one of fear, confusion, even anger. The government and the population are planning to manage the forthcoming consequences. As usual, the property prices are down. People are selling their cars, or the price of the cars are low. So people think that bad days might come, which may not come, but this is the kind of the mood there. The public the mood somehow resembles the situation on the eve of the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan some 32 years ago. Across the country, the Taliban's deafening rhetoric of victory over superpower in the return of the emirate sends fears to the heart of the population, who still remember the life under the Taliban emirate. The urban women are particularly worried and fear they are about to lose the liberties they have regained in the past 2 decades. Meanwhile, diplomatic efforts are underway to resuscitate the delayed peace process. US, Russia, China, and Pakistan representatives meet tomorrow to agree on a joint stand regarding the peace in Afghanistan. They once emphasized that the United Nations decision that the return of Emirate is not acceptable in Afghanistan is one of the topics. A high level of Pakistani delegation concluded consultation in Kabul this week. And yesterday, the delegation traveled to Doha to encourage the Taliban to join the peace process in Turkey, maybe after Ramadan. So this is the general mood of population in Kabul. With regard to the peace process, although the Turkey's Afghan peace meeting is still expected to take place after Ramadan, the Taliban refused to participate before the full withdrawal of the foreign troops from Afghanistan, which has delayed, would cause the delaying of the meeting twice already. But encouraged by the ongoing situation, the Taliban seem reluctant to commit themselves to peace talks, hoping to see more favorable conditions following the US withdrawal that will help their military and political gains, which is criticized by many in the region and also in Afghanistan. The Taliban are now pushing the envelope too far. They're asking for the release of their 7,000 prisoners and removal of their leaders from the UN sanction list is a condition for their participation in Turkey's meeting. As many of the Taliban prisoners released earlier joined the battle lines, Kabul is strongly against any deal on prisoners unless the Taliban agree on ceasefire. The Taliban earlier accepted that if that takes place, that was before the change of the withdrawal date of the US forces, that for 3 months they can agree on a ceasefire regarding that prisoners are released and their leaders are delisted from the sanctions. However, this has changed now. They are more encouraged with the withdrawal, or the beginning of the withdrawal of foreign forces would actually taking place. Meanwhile, the Taliban may wish to take a shortcut to victory by offering separate deals with individual Afghan political leaders and power brokers. This way, they will try to bypass the Ghani government and make separate deals with individuals in order to, disrupt the whole peace process. This week, there were confirmed reports of Taliban direct approach to certain Afghan leaders, including former President Hamid Karzai and Dr. Abdullah. They said that they received letters from Taliban for direct talks with them in order to, end this conflict. These letters were sent to many of these Afghan leaders, maybe to other leaders like Mahakek, like Mr. Khalili, Mr. Dostan, or others. However, so far, the announcement from the government is this, that they are not going to heed Taliban's individual deals, individual letters, individual contacts with them. They want to, approach the peace process in a unified front. This, I think, recently, President Ghani has tried to consult with many of these leaders, wanted to form a unified front. And there's also misinformation, disinformation by Taliban. This week, yesterday and today actually, There was the reports which was first published in Pakistani media and now the Afghan media and social media that Ghani has made a secret travel to Pakistan in recent past. That he traveled, they flew to Rawalpindi, to Chakala airport, and then without disembarking from the plane, the General Bajwa came to the plane and they had a long discussion there. That creates some kind of doubts in Afghanistan in the mind of some leaders. Maybe this is part of misinformation, disinformation, although the government refuted these and they, Abdullah, Karzai, and Ghani, all of them announced that they are going to be united in the peace process. But as the major regional and global powers in the UN rejected the return of the Taliban emirate, the Taliban leaders see their position in negotiation and possible election becoming weak, and they are reluctant to downgrade or give up their violence leverage, which that's the only leverage they have now, apart from some, support from outside. So this is what the peace process is. It is not. There is a hope that after the Ramadan, the four countries that I mentioned earlier, the US, China, Pakistan, and Russia, will try to jumpstart this Turkey again, meeting again. The Turkish foreign minister announced that they are ready to hold the meeting under the UN auspices in Turkey after the Ramadan. If that takes place, I think this is going to be a positive step toward a reconciliation and peace process. Despite the fact, gradually when the Taliban see the withdrawal of forces, and also with the withdrawal of US forces, they believe that the capability of the Afghan security forces would degrade, will be suffered. They believe that time is on their side. So this is what the peace process is. Now I would put some thoughts on what may lie ahead in Afghanistan. The main question is whether the Afghan government and its security forces will survive after the US pullout. You can read this in many, many opinion pieces and also in debates. This question is often looked at in military terms, while it is a political issue. Yesterday, I attended the conference which was organized by Frederick Ebert Stiftung of Germany and NATO, where the expert from Afghanistan, from region, and from the US participated. They also emphasized that the issue is not a military, that you think whether military will survive or not. It's a political issue, and it's a right political issue. And given the institutional potential of the Afghan state, the government has sufficient capacity to deal with the challenges in the immediate post-withdrawal period. However, this depends on the maintaining and enhancing the government cohesion and to unify and direct the use of the national instrument of power under unified leadership. Further, the diplomatic effort in the region to facilitate political settlement in Afghanistan will be a major factor in the survival and strengthening of the Afghan government. This may, now that capacity is there. Will it survive or not? It probably will downgrade gradually if attention is not made to the survival or sustainability of it. On the other hand, sustainability in keeping the integrity of the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces is another key factor in survival of the government. The United States has pledged continued financing of the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces. However, to what extent this pledge will continue following the withdrawal of US forces and other developments in the country, and also the situation on the ground. The US-Afghanistan bilateral security agreement talks about the US will seek annually funds to support the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces, but it is annual, and also once the troops are out, whether the Congress will be as willing as they were in the past to support Afghanistan security forces. It's a major question. With regard to the capacity of those sides, net assessment of the ANDSF in the Taliban military capability does not offer a clear picture. The complexity and sophistication of the Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces versus the Taliban lean and less sophisticated military forces remains a major criterion. Facing sustainability problem, the NDSF may lose its technological edge over time against the Taliban if the gaps that is now left after the withdrawal of the US forces continues to be a problem. This gap in professional capacity of Afghanistan National Defense and Security Forces are still significantly serious, particularly in intelligence and the Air Force of Afghanistan. 80 to 100% of maintenance in technical support of the Afghan Air Force, both fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters, is provided by some 16,000 contractors, including 6,000 Americans. The Afghan contractors constitute only 4,000 of them, and still they believe that they are not fully, capable of to fill the gap. On the other hand, the one positive thing that people believe that the Pakistan, Russia, and Iran and China are concerned that the departure of the US will leave a vacuum or a kind of a gap. They want to fill this gap by encouraging the warring sides to agree on a political settlement, which is in the best interest of all these regional powers. To conclude, unless there is a political settlement, the conflict may continue for several years, during which the Afghan government may incrementally lose its capacity to survive in its technological age against the lean and very unsophisticated military forces of the Taliban. However, a military domination of the Taliban can lead to civil war with involvement of regional proxies. I think this is what Ambassador Khalilzad this week in a hearing in Congress warned that Afghans have two choices. Either they agree on a political settlement, or it will be a long and bloody war in Afghanistan. Thank you, Marina. I will stop here.